What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Monday, June 14th. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comment section who's your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We're rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Reggie Jackson, Furkan Korkmaz, Joel Embiid, Joe Ingles, and Nick Batum on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? Time to find out. First up at number 5, we're going to shooting guard eligible Paul George. He's 8,600 for reasons I don't understand. Projected for 45.7. The goal is 55.8. He's in the optimal lineup 40% of the time. He's going to play around 40 minutes if this game is competitive. I don't know why Paul George isn't more expensive. 1.14 fantasy points per minute. That's like a really, really good rate for someone that's going to play 40 minutes. 28% usage, 24.5 real points, 7 boards, 5.5 assists, 2 stocks. It's a no-brainer. The only thing that slows you down from rostering Paul George is the fact that he only has shooting guard eligibility. If he had small forward as well, he would be massive. I assume that he would be second on this list, and we'll get to who's number 1 in a little bit. But for right now, paying up for Paul George is simple, and I think you should do it a lot. But he is not my preferred pay-up option for today. That would be point guard eligible TRAE Young. He's 9,200, projected for 49. The goal is 59. He's in the optimal lineup 42% of the time. I think TRAE Young's playing about 38 minutes. He's a 1.3 fantasy point per minute guy in this spot. 33% usage, which is bonkers. 28 real points and 10 assists. So I've got TRAE Young projected for a double-double. That's a better than 50% chance of getting that double-double bonus. Plus you get 3.5 boards. Maybe you fall into a steal. But I think TRAE Young is in a good spot. They're trying to save the season here. They do not want to go down 3-1. I think he's the guy that has to get it done. 9,200, not a problematic price tag. Next up in number 3, we're going to small forward, power forward eligible Marcus Morris. He's 4,300. Bargain price, projected for about 25. The goal is just 29. He's in the optimal lineup 43% of the time. I'm expecting Marcus Morris to play north of 30 minutes, and he is not priced like that's going to be his role. Now, he is basically a 0.7 fantasy point per minute guy, somewhere in that 0.7 to 0.75. You're not getting a lot out of him. It's going to be mostly scoring, maybe a rebound or two. In this case, 14 points, 4.5 boards. But it's precious else. You need Marcus Morris to be able to score a little bit. And if he's playing north of 30 minutes, I don't think that it's that outlandish for him to pay off a $4,300 price tag. To me, he should be slightly more expensive. Take the value here. He will help you pay up for guys like TRAE Young and for his teammate Paul George. Back to the Hawks for number 2. That would be Bogdanovic, point guard, shooting guard eligible, 6,400, projected for 34.5. The goal is 42. He's in the optimal lineup 43% of the time. This one's going to be a good one. Bogdanovic has been playing massive minutes for the Hawks. I've got him in for 38, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were 40. 0.9 fantasy points per minute, which is a really nice rate in the playoffs. It's really hard to get much higher than 1. You're saving that for like the true stars. 21% usage. 18.5 real points, 4 boards, 4 assists, and 1.8 stocks. I obviously like TRAE Young, but I like Bogdanovic more. I like the Hawks a lot, and I don't want to spoiler alert it, but we might be seeing a Hawk at the number 1 spot. But for now, the dual eligibility on Bogdanovic, the usage looks great, but the playing time, that is the key. Getting massive minutes is the perfect way to roster Bogdanovic here. I don't know why I just said it like that. The perfect way to roster Bogdanovic here. You're paying for minutes in one of the cheapest ways possible today. Now, before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head on over to Twitter and follow me, at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results until we get closer to lock. And finally, in the comment section underneath this video, I want your favorite contender, your least favorite contender, and the guy that you thought was going to be on this list that you do not see. And finally, the number 1 contender for today's slate, power forward center eligible John Collins. Just 5,900, projected for 32.5. The goal is 39. Optimal lineup, 48% of the time. Collins is playing 34 minutes a game so far in this series. Seems to be getting a little bit more run than Clint Capella. I think that bodes well for John Collins. Now, normally he is north of a fantasy point per minute, but in this series, he's more like a 0.95 guy. That's more than enough at 5,900, especially knowing you could roster him at forward and at center. 17 points, 7 boards, 2 stocks, maybe an assist or 2 if you're lucky. But really, what we're talking about again for Collins, for Bogdanovic, even for TRAE Young, we're getting really, really nice minute projections for the Hawks, and the prices haven't really caught up. So that's why I'm putting John Collins in my number 1 spot. There's too much value at a sub 6K John Collins. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Monday, June 14th. Process show is in the books. Go watch that. FanDuel version of this video is around here somewhere. And then strategy show, 10 a.m. with Laffy. You don't want to miss it. But we won't be done there. I'll be back for Live Before Lock tonight with Greg Ehrenberg. It's going to be a good one. Good luck tonight, everybody. I'll talk to you again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Contenders.